Hi everyone, how's everybody? Hope you're good. Blessed too, always blessed. I want to talk about Moderna for a second. Well, for a minute, or maybe even many minutes, because this article is long. Moderna's trading at a 52-week low. It was just at like 196 only like 2 weeks ago, I think. So it's trading right now at 137, a 52-week low. It has 46 candidates in the pipeline. A couple are approved, which we know of course. It has $8 billion in cash and only $4 billion in debt, so it has $4 billion. But really what I want to get at is, could Moderna and these mRNA vaccines be the future of, they're coming out with all this COVID, all the variants, the boosters, all this stuff, but could we see this be to treat cancer and all these? Is Moderna the next thing that's actually going to be monumental in treating cancer and all that stuff, which we've been dying to cure forever, which hopefully we can. I mean, let's not forget Moderna. I mean, it is a 94% effective vaccine against COVID, and it was only a year. They only had a year to make and come up with, and it was 94% effective. So it's not like it was not effective. So it was actually really effective. I was even surprised at that. When I saw 94%, I was surprised. But anyway, let me read you this article from cancer.gov. The coronavirus pandemic has thrown a spotlight on messenger RNA, the molecule that carries a cell's instructions for making proteins. Hundreds of millions of people worldwide have received mRNA vaccines that provide powerful protection against severe COVID-19 caused by infection with SARS-CoV-2. As stunningly successful as the mRNA vaccine has been, researchers have long hoped to use mRNA vaccines for a different purpose, to treat cancer. mRNA-based cancer treatment vaccines have been tested in small trials for nearly a decade, with some promising early results. In fact, scientists at both Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna drew on their experience developing mRNA cancer vaccines to create their coronavirus vaccines. That's something I didn't know either. Now, some investigators believe the success of the mRNA vaccine could help accelerate clinical research on mRNA vaccines to treat cancer. And that's exactly what I was thinking. With the quickness and effectiveness of the COVID vaccine, now they can tweak and do what they got to do to treat other things. And we all know that these vaccines by Moderna can be created very quickly. All right, continuing on. There's a lot of enthusiasm around mRNA right now, said Patrick Ott, MD, PhD, who directs the Center for Personal Cancer Vaccines at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. The funding and resources that are flowing into mRNA vaccine research will help the cancer vaccine field. Dozens of clinical trials are testing mRNA treatment vaccines in people with various types of cancer, including pancreatic cancer, colorectal cancer, and melanoma. Some vaccines are being evaluated in combination with drugs that enhance the body's immune response to tumors. But no mRNA cancer vaccine has been approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for use either alone or with other cancer treatments. Nothing's been approved yet. mRNA vaccine technology is extremely promising for infectious diseases and may lead to new kind of vaccines, said Elad Sharon, MD, MPH of NCI's Division of Cancer Treatment and Diagnosis. For other applications, such as the treatment of cancer, research on mRNA vaccines also appears promising, but these approaches have not yet proven themselves. With findings starting to emerge from ongoing clinical trials of mRNA cancer vaccines, researchers could soon learn more about the safety and effectiveness of these treatments. Dr. Sharon added. Dendritic cells act as teachers, educating T cells so they can search for and kill cancer cells or virus-infected cells. Depending on the antigen, said Karen Breckpot, PhD of the a university in Belgium, who studies mRNA vaccines, said. The mRNA included in the Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna coronavirus vaccines instruct cells to produce a version of the spike protein that studs the surface of SARS-CoV-2. The immune system sees the spike protein presented by the dendritic cells as foreign and mobilizes some immune cells to produce antibodies and other immune cells to fight off the apparent infection. Having been exposed to the spike protein free of the virus, the immune system is now prepared, primed to strongly react to subsequent infection with the actual SARS-CoV-2 virus. Cancer research led to speedy development of mRNA vaccines. When the pandemic struck, mRNA vaccine technology had an unexpected opportunity to demonstrate its promise, said Norbert Party, PhD of the University of Pennsylvania Perelman School of Medicine, whose research focuses on mRNA-based vaccines. The production of mRNA vaccines today is easy, fast, and can be scaled up as needed, he continued. The same manufacturing procedure can be applied to any mRNA sequence, he added, like cancer or any infectious disease. Historically, the process of developing vaccines has taken 10 to 15 years. Both the Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna COVID-19 vaccines were designed, manufactured, and shown to be safe and effective in people in less than a year. To develop an infectious disease vaccine during a pandemic, you need to be fast, said Lena Kranz, PhD co-director of cancer vaccines at BioNTech. The current pandemic has confirmed our hypothesis that mRNA technology is well suited for fast vaccine development and rapid manufacturing on a global scale. The groundwork for the speedy design, manufacturing, and testing of the mRNA COVID-19 vaccines was established through decades of work on cancer vaccines. During this period, immunotherapy, including drugs such as immune checkpoint inhibitors, emerged as a new approach to treating cancer, leading in some people to dramatic and long-lasting responses. There's a lot of synergy between research on immunotherapy and mRNA cancer vaccines, said Robert Meehan, MD, Senior Director of Clinical Development at Moderna. Vaccines are building on the success of immune checkpoint inhibitors and expanding our knowledge of the underlying biology. Technologies that can deliver mRNA to the body are essential for the success of these vaccines. If an mRNA sequence were injected into the body without some form of protection, the sequence would be recognized by the immune system as a foreign substance and destroyed. A solution employed by some investigational cancer vaccines is to encase the mRNA in lipid nanoparticles, which are tiny spheres that protect the mRNA molecules. Other delivery vehicles include liposomes, which are also a type of vesicle or bubble. The most advanced mRNA-based vaccine platform uses mRNA encapsulated in lipid nanoparticles, said Dr. Party. Now that the Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna coronavirus vaccine trials have demonstrated the effectiveness of lipid nanoparticles, the technology could certainly be used in future cancer vaccine trials, he added. Another key feature of the Moderna coronavirus vaccine is the use of modified forms of mRNA, according to Jordan Meyer, PhD of NCI's Center for Cancer Research. The mRNA in these vaccines incorporates pseudouridine, which is a modification of a naturally occurring nucleoside. Nucleosides are the building blocks of mRNA, and the order of specific nucleosides determine the instructions that mRNA gives to the protein-making machinery in cells. The modification system seems to make the mRNA itself almost invisible to the immune system, said Dr. Meyer. The modification does not alter the function of the mRNA, but may enhance the effectiveness of the vaccines, he added. Cancer researchers have been testing both modified and unmodified forms of mRNA in their investigational treatment cancer vaccines. More research is needed to better understand the relative advantage of each approach for the development of cancer vaccines, Dr. Meyer said. For more than a decade, cancer researchers have been developing a type of treatment known as a personalized cancer vaccine, using various technologies, including mRNA and protein fragments or peptides. The investigational mRNA vaccines are manufactured for individuals based on the specific molecular features of their tumors. It takes 1 to 2 months to produce a personalized mRNA cancer vaccine after tissue samples have been collected from a patient. That doesn't seem long. 1 to 2 months? That seems quick, right? Speed is especially important for the individualized cancer vaccination, said Matthias Vorma, PhD co-director of cancer vaccines at BioNTech. A highly individualized vaccine combination must be designed and produced within weeks of taking a tumor biopsy. And that was like the same thing with the COVID vaccine with Moderna. After the second dose, after 2 weeks, you're 94% protected compared to, I think, 51% protected at the first dose, I think. I don't know. With this approach, researchers try to elicit an immune response against abnormal proteins or neoantigens produced by cancer cells. Because these proteins are not found on normal cells, they are promising targets for vaccine-induced immune responses. Personalized cancer vaccines may teach the immune system on how cancer cells are different from the rest of the body, said Julie Bauman, MD, Deputy Director of the University of Arizona Cancer Center. Dr. Bauman is co-leading a clinical trial testing a personalized mRNA vaccine in combination with an immune checkpoint inhibitor in patients with advanced head and neck cancer. The study initially included patients with colorectal cancer, but this group did not appear to benefit from the therapy. For patients with head and neck cancer, however, the responses in our first group of patients with head and neck cancers, said Dr. Bowman, noting that the study has been expanded to include 40 patients with the disease. Oh wait, I skipped over this paragraph, which was actually really important. For patients with head and neck cancer, however, the early results were positive. Among the first 10 participants, 2 patients had all signs of their tumors disappear following treatment, known as a complete response, and another 5 had their tumors shrink. How could I skip over that? That was the most important paragraph of this whole long thing I'm reading. Let me read that again, because that's huge. For patients with head and neck cancer, however, the early results were positive. Among the first 10 participants, 2 patients had all signs of their tumors disappear following treatment, known as a complete response, and another 5 had their tumors shrink. That's awesome. For 10 patients, you had 7. Wow. We were surprised to see 2 complete and enduring responses in our first group of patients with head and neck cancer, said Dr. Bowman, noting that the study had been expanded. Oh, I read that. That's what I read that I skipped over. That. The number of patients treated is small, but we are cautiously optimistic, she added. The study is sponsored by Moderna, which makes each personalized vaccine in about 6 weeks. The manufacturing process starts with the identification of genetic mutations in a patient's tumor cells that could give rise to neoantigens. Computer algorithms then predict which neoantigens are most likely to bind receptors on T cells and stimulate an immune response. The vaccine can include genetic sequences for up to 34 different neoantigens. The promise of personalized immunotherapy with mRNA vaccines is being able to activate T cells that will specifically recognize individual cancer cells based on their abnormal molecular features, said Dr. Bowman. A lot of immunotherapies stimulate the immune response in a nonspecific way, that is, not directly against the cancer, said Dr. Ott. Personalized cancer vaccines can direct the immune response to exactly where it needs to be. Some companies are also investigating mRNA cancer vaccines that are based on collections of a few dozen neoantigens that have been linked with certain types of cancer, including prostate, gastrointestinal, and melanoma. In addition to clinical trials, fundamental research on mRNA cancer vaccines continues. Some investigators are trying to enhance the response of immune cells to neoantigens in mRNA vaccines. One study, for example, aims to improve the responses of T cells that become exhausted while attacking tumors. A challenge for the field is learning how best to identify neoantigens for personalized mRNA cancer vaccines, several researchers said. It's all good. And this last paragraph is important. Let me just read you this last one because this is a long article. It took a pandemic for there to be broad acceptance of mRNA vaccines among the scientific community, Dr. Brettpot said. But the global use of COVID-19 mRNA vaccines has demonstrated the safety of this approach and will open doors for cancer vaccines. And that's what I believe. That's what I believe. So I'm pretty bullish on Moderna. So let me know what you guys all think. And have a lovely day. Bye.